eliminate your bed.
Bob, newly issued tornado warning now includes Durant and Bryan County. This is going to be from that cell that moved over Lake Texoma and produced a lot of hail. We've been showing you that video during the day, but this newly issued tornado warning is going to be for that same cell. This is going to be tracking off to the north and the northeast and moving into a much better environment for storm coverage. Could downstream impact Atoka to Antlers, but oh yeah, we've got a pretty strong. We need to check with Durant and make sure that this was not on the ground as it moved through the city, if we want to make some calls on that. But very defined couplet right now. This is going to be right over Armstrong, coming near Caddo. We are getting some really high wind returns with this along 70, and that's also going to be nearing Buckcheto. Amber is going to be querying some of these wind speeds here. I would imagine at least almost 60 to 70 mile per hour winds likely going to be embedded in this with some of those brighter green colors here. So she's working on that, but this is still going to include Maine Durant right now as well as Armstrong. And yeah, there you go, at least 63 mile per hour winds. This is the area that they are working on that radar. Of course, that has been delayed, and they're still not up and finished with that just yet. So we're not tapping into those scans, but a very prominent couplet visible right now for Durant, Armstrong, Buckcheto, and Caddo. This is not to take away from that large hail that just moved through Sherman, but this may be on the ground. We don't have the reports yet, but I do not like what I'm seeing with this. Let's punch up CC when you can, Amber, and then we'll read off the specs with this warning. But yeah, a very defined CC drop with this storm. This tornado may be well on the ground right now. It's heavy rain. It's going to be very difficult to see, but we are seeing a note that there could be some debris being lofted up here just to the south of Caddo and just to the east of Armstrong. Shear rate either delayed or not coming up with a lot just yet, so we'll take that as a win. But with that CC drop and that very clearly defined velocity couplet here, this is going to be an embedded tornado within this cell with a lot of heavy rain all around it. Amber, if you want to go ahead and read the specs with this warning and how long that goes until.
Yeah, so this tornado warning is going to, again, for Bryan County, going to go until about 4:45 this afternoon. It's moving northeast at around 35 miles an hour, and a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain. The sirens are sounding in Durant. They're looking at that strengthening of that circulation, that couplet that we were talking about. I'll pull up velocity so we can kind of show what we're talking about. That the reds and the greens coming together. They're seeing that kind of strengthen a little bit along 75, so they're going to keep an eye out on that just in case as this heads towards Caddo. But I think the main area of circulation is now past Durant, more so impacting Armstrong and soon to impact Caddo. So if you're along 69, get off the roads if you can. Try to find somewhere safe to get in, get into those safe spots. And this is continuing again northeast at about 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, thanks, Amber. And this definitely is stronger, one of the stronger ones we've been seeing in this area as of lately. And I would treat this as it is on the ground. We haven't heard confirmation just yet, but between looking at that CC drop and seeing how intact this couplet is, we're going to go ahead and do some healthy respect for this thunderstorm and this potential tornado and go ahead and shelter like that is going to be tracking through. Downstream, Atoka, you're not in the warning just yet. Atoka County also currently not in this warning just yet, but you need to be watching this one closely because with that track, it would be taking it through the southeastern edge of Atoka County, and then if it holds together, eventually we're talking way downstream, but push Mataha County, those in Antlers should also be watching this. We have a photo. Guys, tell me where this is from. This is from Tammy in Collinsville. Yeah, tree on a vehicle. So this is going to be that cell that was in Grayson County that then moved north of the Red River, and so we are getting some damage reports in with this. We know that there's been very large hail in Sherman, and then now that potential tornado, they're coming out of Durant and moving straight into Armstrong. Guys, if we can put up some of that hail video that we had earlier too, we can show folks also this kind of secondary threat with that hail. We'll go back to radar while they work on that. And yeah, so already some damage being reported just with some of these severe thunderstorms while they weren't even tornadic. They're south of the Red River, but it's Oklahoma right now that's under this near-term tornado threat. But more storms up near Colgate. Cole County earlier was under a severe thunderstorm warning. At this time, you are not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but it looks like a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning has also been added for some of Atoka County. When you can, Amber, go ahead and read me the information with that one. This does include part of the cell that is currently tornado warned.
Yes, it does include that cell that is in Bryan County right now. Atoka, Bryan, Johnston, and Marshall County for that severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to go through 4:30, but a quick update on that tornado warning in Bryan County. They say circulation is increasing just a little bit more on radar. This is, say they might be trying to form something just north, on the north side of this circulation. So I'm going to pull up velocity again so we can kind of nail down where that area is. So they're going to be watching near Caddo and along 69. So they're saying right now that circulation is just west of 69, but you can see we're watching that very close as it nears Caddo, and then this will shortly be crossing over the county line into Atoka. So Caney, Tushka, I know you're just in that severe thunderstorm warning, but not a bad idea to go ahead and get into those tornado warning safe spots right now, just because it is looking to move kind of quick over that county line.
Yeah, especially with this ramping on up here. Definitely worth noting we're going to have some embedded winds with this, as well as that potential tornado there. Okay, we have hail video. Let's show that real quick. This was Sherman earlier. Reports of ping pong ball size hail, at least a possibility for up to even almost baseball size hail for a few folks as that core moved on through. But you can see the big splashes in the water. Again, this was in Sherman about 20 minutes ago as that hail core really tracked on through. So dealing with multiple hazards here on both sides of the Red River. Guys, yeah, let's go ahead and show that picture when you get a chance. We'll show you more pictures and videos coming in with this. Our very own Kathy Corbett sent this one in from Sherman. At least quarter size hail with this, an inch hail there. That was at 14, 17, and 82. Again, about 15 to 20 minutes ago. So we'll go ahead and go back to radar. Focus in again on that potential tornado. It has continuously been looking healthier and healthier in recent scans. Let's go ahead and put a track on this, Amber, and kind of include some of Atoka County and then even some folks down in Pushmataha County. If this would stay together, go ahead and give them some downstream notice of just if this were to remain intact, what time they could expect this moving on in. Again, this is for Bryan County right now, but it is tracking to the north and the northeast. If you want to go ahead and read off this track, Amber.
Yeah, so as this takes its northeast track at about 35 miles an hour, timeline for when it could be moving into your area. The First Church of the Nazarene at 4:18, so that is imminent. Get into your storm safe spots right now. Caddo at 4:19, Caney at just over a little past 4:30, Cook, Oklahoma at 4:35, Tushka at 4:41, at Memorial Hospital at 4:47, and near Bruno at 4:50. Now, mind you, this warning does expire, I believe, at 4:30, 4:45. So some of these times are after that time frame, and just we're letting you know these times just in case it is extended past that Bryan County line into Atoka County. So again, those timeline through about 4:50 as the storm moves northeast, again at 35 miles an hour.
All right, thanks, Amber. I think we had an update with that tornado warning. It looks like that warning flashed a little bit while you were talking. What is the National Weather Service saying about this?
Chat went down, so I can't get word from the National Weather Service right now, but I'll pull up specs just to see if maybe it slowed down a little bit. Looks like no, still moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. And in addition to the tornado threat, we're also watching the threat for ping pong ball sized hail. And we kind of saw a little bit of that in Grayson County and Sherman Denison a little bit ago. So still a hail concern as well as that tornado threat.
Okay, so guys, if you remember that hail video we just showed you, for size kind of to compare, that's about the same size hail we're expecting with this thunderstorm in Bryan County. All right, so we have the very defined couplet. We also have some strong winds, I think, that are going to be coming into Buckcheto right now. And one thing we're going to have to watch today, storms were splitting. We have right movers, we have left movers. If this is splits and kind of goes to more of a left mover, we are watching for the chances of anticyclonic rotation. I know that sounds kind of nuts. It's not super common, but it definitely can happen. So we're going to be watching these closely to see if they take on any of those characteristics. But for now, Durant to Caddo, Buckcheto, that kind of triangular area. That's what we're watching for the main tornado threat near term, and treat this like it was on the ground. We haven't had confirmation, but keep in mind this is going to be rain wrapped if there is something on the ground, and very difficult to see. Amber, let's actually stair step through this because it does look like we're getting a little bit of that turning. Right now it does look cyclonic, so hopefully we don't have to worry about anything too crazy today. But I mentioned they're rain wrapped, they're embedded. Here's the purples and the reds, but all out ahead of that, we've got rain, so it's going to be very difficult, even if you're positioned in Choctaw County or eastern Bryan County looking west at this, you're not going to be able to see it. It's going to be dark and very difficult, and this area right here, we have, these are what we call HP supercells, or high precipitation supercells. They dump a lot of heavy rainfall with them, and that's going to reduce visibility. So folks, if for some reason you're traveling out here today, please go ahead and take the path of least regret. Go ahead and pull over at a gas station or some building. We're not talking overpasses. That's even more dangerous than if you were just on the road. But this is what we're watching near term, and this has been staying pretty healthy. And it looks like even we are seeing some of that turning. So this may be taking a little bit of a northward turn, possibly. But this, we know all too well, these tracks can definitely move into Atoka County or even push Mataha County down the road. Okay, so we have some more hail pictures coming in. Let's go ahead and show you those. This one sent in from Ellen from Gordonville. That's along Lake Texoma. So that cell that produced this hail now in Bryan County has really ramped on up. And I mean, this looks like it's snowed. This is, of course, ice, not actually snow, but hail covering the ground there. So again, Ellen sent this one in from Gordonville. So a lot of hail possibilities with this. Tammy sent this one in. Guys, where did you say this was? Collinsville. You can see that hail there. That'll definitely cause some problems. So a lot of hail. That's like the most concerning thing today with these thunderstorms, is that large hail threat. And I would say secondarily would be the tornado threat. So we've seen both already so far today. Still no updates, I believe, on that particular tornado warning from the National Weather Service. But again, we're treating that as it's on the ground. We can go ahead and go back to radar, guys, and show everyone what we're watching. If we want to punch up shear rate and see if that's picked up anything with this. Yeah, okay, so it just was a little delayed. Possibly maybe two broad areas of rotation, but definitely a shear marker coming in there on the northeast side of Durant. They did trim the warning back so that main Durant is no longer included in this polygon. But if you're on the eastern fringes or northeastern fringes of Durant, you would be included in this current tornado warning. And again, that goes until about 4:45 today. Seeing some uptick in lightning there near Caddo. All right, let's zoom on out again, Amber. I just want to give a big picture here because I know we have more than just Bryan County seeing these thunderstorms. We're watching. This is like the first round that we're seeing with this warm sector convection. There's definitely that tornado threat with it, and then storms out near Wichita Falls. You see all that lightning out there. That line of storms is taking shape. That's eventually going to move in with the cold front even later this evening. So 2 rounds of thunderstorms coming on in. Let's zoom into Sherman real quick. We're still watching this Durant one, but while we don't have any information real time, I'm going to touch base on this Sherman hail core. It is now out of Grayson County, but moving into northern Fannin County and then along the Red River here in southern Bryan County. Amber's using that arrow to point that out. We're seeing a lot of lightning with this. Hail core is still pretty healthy. We have some video what that hail looked like as it went through Sherman. Looking out here, I believe this is a pool, and if you wait for a minute, yeah, you're going to see those hailstones falling into this pool real time, I believe, in a second. Wait and see here. There we go. Yeah, look at that. We got at least, oh, wow, ping pong ball size hail falling. And just look at the swimming pool, that water with all the hail falling in. Yeah, this was Sherman, so they definitely got hit pretty hard with a decent sized hail core that moved on through. That has now left Sherman, but you can see the extension of this through Bells and then into northern Fannin County. We're also seeing the hail size starting to increase out south of Caddo. Real time, looks like Durant may have dodged some of the bigger hail core, but I think this storm cycled. We showed you that hail that was out near Gordonville, Lake Texoma. You can see this track right here it took a brief break, so this storm likely cycled and then moved a little farther east, kind of with that new mezzo that formed. And so we'll watch this track very closely. No word yet, I believe, on if they plan on extending this tornado warning just yet. But if you're in Atoka County, you really need to be watching this if you're in southern Atoka County at this time. Any updates, Amber?
They are watching that area of circulation. They're saying about an estimated 70-mile-an-hour wind west of Caddo. Current time, that is from not Durant, but Bryan County Emergency Management. We'll be watching this very close. You can also see that hail core, but I'm going to go back to velocity to see how that rotation is looking. You can see those bright reds and greens. Now, it looks like this main area of circulation may be just around Caddo, moving northeast. This will be crossing that county line, here shortly. So heads up, Caney, Tushka. They haven't said anything as far as extending this tornado warning downstream, but we are also watching maybe another severe thunderstorm for Atoka County. They say they may add another one for them there. No word if it's going to be a tornado possible tag on it, but I would assume so, seeing as that area of circulation really hasn't dropped off and the shear rate is still pretty consistent.
I know that is intact 100% and still kind of holding on with full force there. So again, the tornado warning, if you're just now tuning in with us, it's 4:25 p.m. here on your Thursday afternoon. This tornado warning currently ongoing for Bryan County until 4:45 today. Durant no longer included in that warning, and the main circulation has now pushed northeast even of Armstrong, but it's Caddo that's going to be seeing this main circulation. And then possibility, we're going to have to watch this. There may be two areas trying to form and split here, or we're going to have some embedded winds on the more easterly side of Bokchito and southeast of Caddo. So watching both of those areas, regardless, some very strong winds. And those in Caney need to be paying close attention because you're not under this tornado warning, but this is nearing the county line right now, and watching that very closely. Looks like it crossed 69. If we have, let's zoom in, we can get those street by street kind of numbers coming in here. And here's Caddo in the main part of Caddo. This is a windswept trail. This right here is Stewart Ranch Road. This is Pritchard Road. And then this is, changed again. 3903 Road, I believe that's a county road there. This is East 2010 Road, and then this is 3870 Road. So these are going to be some of the roads that this circulation is crossing over. And then Freeney Valley Road, that circulation is going to be right overhead of you right there. So those are some of the main areas we're watching with this circulation as it's moving in very quickly. A little farther north of that, we have West Folsom Road. This is West Mount Carmel Road. Both of those are not in this tornado polygon, but we're going to need a decision quickly here short term from the National Weather Service on what they're going to do with this, because we have many folks that this rotation is going to be crossing over into that at this time are not under a tornado warning. Do you have an update?
Yes, they will be issuing another tornado warning downstream, so this will include Atoka County. The main focus for the new tornado warning is going to be in the Bentley area. So if you're in the Bentley area, make sure you are moving into those storm-safe places right now. We'll see how big this polygon is based on the track of this movement. It may, I would say, include the same areas, maybe just clips Tushka a little bit with this more northeast track, but could possibly include State Highway 3, State Highway 109A. So again, we're just kind of waiting for this warning to be issued, but they are going to watch that too. They're also watching increased winds near Bokchito. That's moving northwesterly toward the circulation. So that was that kind of uptick in those brighter greens that we were watching. So we're going to be watching that and see how that kind of interacts with the current circulation right now.
Yeah, because we have these really strong winds that are right here, and then we kind of have the main circulation that's more right here near Caddo. And there's our new tornado warning. Okay, so we'll give that We'll give that a minute to go ahead and load, but the winds that I was talking about and that Amber was talking about, let's take off these warnings real quick, Amber, and see if we can query some of these wind speeds in here, because this to me looks like at least 60 to 70 mile-per-hour winds that are going to be on the east and northeast side of Buck Cheeto, and then we have a secondary, smaller embedded wind core there to the east of Caddo real time. So she's going to work on trying to pull up some of those wind speeds. This again is crossing the county line between Atoka County and Bryan County real time, and that new tornado warning now includes Atoka County with this, as it is tracking to the east and the northeast there.
So these winds are clocking in at 50 to 60 miles an hour, but Storm Spotter reported, again, this is not confirmed, but it is reported of 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts just 1 mile east of Caddo just a few minutes ago on 22. That might be Highway 22, I'm not sure. But yeah, some very strong winds. I know this is populating about 50 to 60, but we've gotten reports of at least 70-mile-an-hour winds, and with that report of 100-mile-an-hour winds. And if you remember, whether it's a tornado or whether it's just strong winds, Sunday evening was a very good example of just how much damage even just strong winds can do themselves. So even if it's just a severe thunderstorm warning you're under with this strong wind threat, you still want to, again, get into the inner part of your home, protect your head, helmet, pillows, blankets. These winds are not something to play around with.
Okay, Amber, let's go ahead and see what time this new tornado warning goes till. If you want to click that for me real quick. It does include Atoka County as well as the northern portion of Bryan County. That goes until 5:15 today. So about 45 minutes additional time added onto this tornado warning to account for the northerly track. Right now, Caney is not included in this, which tells me this is taken on a little more of an easterly direction instead of more due north. Okay, so with this easterly, northeasterly track, we'll watch this downstream to see if it clips the southeastern portion of Atoka County. And then again, those in Pushmataha County, this is way down the road, but you need to be watching this if you're in Antlers very close, because tornado parameters in this area right now, they're definitely there. Okay, this has not been tapped into yet today, and we're going to have plenty of energy for these storms to work with going forward. And that main circulation, this is where that gust of 100 miles per hour was reported. That's Caddo. This is 22. So this is where the embedded winds are going to be. It's right here, and that lines up pretty well with the couplet. If we can, let's punch up CC for a second. Amber, we had a clear CC drop in this earlier when it was near Durant. It does look like we're still getting one. However, this one a little more displaced from Caddo. Do me a favor, punch up hail tracks. Let's make sure that that's not picking up the hail core there just to the north of Buck Cheeto. Very possible. We'll have to watch that. Slightly displaced from that main circulation, but large hail, a concern with this storm. You can see the hail spike starting to kind of increase there, and that's a sign of a healthy updraft and a healthy thunderstorm. A lot of times when those hailstones start getting larger and larger, that updraft can continue lofting those up into the atmosphere. And we're seeing even a little bit of an inflow notch right here, pulling in some of those warmer air and warmer winds straight into the storm. So this is going to be embedded. It's going to be difficult to see, rain wrapped. Even though it's daylight, you're just not going to see it. It's going to hit you before you know what's happening. So that's why we want to go ahead and be taking those tornado shelter safe guidelines. You're going to want to get away from windows. We have hail to deal with, and then we have potential debris from anything lofted in the air due to either strong winds or to a tornado. And so as many walls that can go between you and the outside, that's what we want to do. And if you're in an apartment, we get a lot of questions about this. The most inner you can get in that apartment complex and the furthest down, that's going to be the best bet there, okay? Higher up, winds increase with height, so you're going to want to go down as far to the ground as you possibly can. And then again, windows are not your friend when it comes to this. Great sightseeing on a day that's sunny, but not so much today, and so we're going to want to stay away from that. If that window breaks, the last thing you're going to want to deal with is glass flying around in the atmosphere. Do we have an update with this, Amber, as you're zooming on in here?
We don't have an update. They just do say that this is heading towards Bentley, Oklahoma. So the Bentley area needs to be seeking shelter now. They're also watching, they say the center of circulation is about 4 miles east of Caddo, and again heading towards Bentley, Oklahoma, which I'm trying to see on Google Maps if any businesses or anything is near Bentley, Oklahoma. Looks like Bentley Baptist Church. If you happen to be going to church this Thursday evening, definitely want to refrain from trying to get on the roads today. I know people have things to do, but with the hail alone and then that tornado threat, you want to try to stay home. But if you're already at the Bentley Baptist Church for some reason, again, try to get away from windows. I know sometimes churches can have a lot of windows, stained glass windows, so try to maybe get into the inner part of the church if you are in there. But that area is set to be impacted by this area of circulation shortly.
Yeah, and a closet or something that has a lot of walls, a smaller room, that's what we suggest when it comes to sheltering. If you're in a really big open room and one of those walls kind of gets some damage or something like that, that's not going to be as good as if you could get into a little smaller, more impact room with more supporting walls around you. So bathrooms, closets, some interior room, a laundry room, something like that that has a little more walls between you and the outside. That's what we suggest with this. And yeah, I was thinking we had 2 areas of rotation. That looks like the shear marker is picking that up. We have kind of a southern storm within that tornado warning and then a north one. The north one is what we had reports of that 100-mile-per-hour wind gust. The southerly one was the one that had some strong winds there near Boca Chica. I don't know if we're getting any new information. That warning polygon was flashing here. So if we have anything new, just let me know here, Amber. But very clear shear rate marker with this in northern Bryan County. Do me a favor. Let's zoom out. I just want to make sure we don't have any other areas that we're concerned about near time with a tornado threat. The purples you see, that's something we call range folding. And that just means the radar really is having trouble picking anything up past that point. And again, that's why the Durant radar is going to be so important once that is up and running. Unfortunately, not being able to use that just yet. Possibly some broad rotation up there with this storm north of McAllister, but that's going to be moving away from our main area. Okay, looks like another newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for the northern portions of Atoka County. What are the specs with this one, Amber?
Yeah, so new severe thunderstorm warning. Also, just a quick note on that circulation northeast of Caddo. They're saying it is broadening a little bit, which means it's just not looking as good. We don't want... Oh, we do want broad rotation if we're going to see rotation. The tighter it is, the more strong it suggests that rotation is. So the fact that it's broadening is a good sign, but it could be cycling, as we've said before. So we're not going to let our guard down just yet. So as far as this newly issued severe thunderstorm warning for Atoka, that's going to go through 5 o'clock this evening. Kind of your baseline severe thunderstorm modes of severe weather, 60-mile-an-hour winds possible, and up to quarter-sized hail. So we'll see if this is a sign of maybe them trying to drop off the tornado warning eventually, but we're just going to watch and see if the circulation is still weakening or if it's kind of doing the cycle that we've seen in the past.
Let's go back to that storm. Leave it on reflectivity here for a second, Amber. I want to go back down to that one in southern Atoka. Yeah, it looks like right here we may have to pan up slightly. We're getting some possibility of go down a little bit more. I think we're getting some winds pulled in right here. We may have to take lightning off. That's going to be north of Boca Chica, kind of on the back end side of this. Possibility that this line could just kind of be splitting up, but yeah, getting a little bit of turning right there, and this is going to be the main circulation we're watching. So that is an interesting feature. Normally we see it more on the east side of a line, but we'll have to see what this means for this storm, if it's able to pull any of that air in, or if this is just kind of splitting out. Very consistent, but I would say, yeah, latest scans with this, a little weaker, but it is still intact, so we're going to have to watch that one. And it is going to be moving. The remnant mezzo would move into Pushmataha County near Antlers, just way down the road with this. For those in Choctaw County watching this near Boswell, you're going to be getting some heavy rain, some strong winds, likely some embedded winds coming into the northwestern portion of this as that line swings through. But I think the tornado threat near term, at least for the northern part of Choctaw County, likely not going to be an issue just yet. So that is some good news, but still a possibility of a tornado embedded with this. Nothing confirmed from the National Weather Service at this time. We've not heard any reports. Again, we've said today is messy. It's going to be very difficult to see if we do get something, and unfortunately, we're going to kind of have to wait on the back end to see if there's damage to know if we had anything tornadic with some of these, just because of you know, how it looks here. It's going to be hard to tell. Let's zoom on out a little bit. I want to go back to our Texas counties. We had that big time hail core going through, and oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, this one, that is going to be a confirmed tornado. That's going to be east southeast of Sulphur Springs. So this is a little ways away, but we'll watch this because if this moves towards Idabel or towards Lamar County, that would soon bring that into our area. So just a heads up to everyone with this confirmed tornado to the east-southeast. That current tornado warning goes until 5 o'clock. Does include Red River County as well as some folks in East Texas there. And this is going to be crossing I-30. If you know anyone traveling on I-30 today for whatever reason, maybe they're coming back from Louisiana or whatnot, this storm is going to be crossing the highway, and again, that's a confirmed tornado. Let's go up to northern Fannin County real quick. We'll leave that tornado warning as it is for the moment, as it's not completely in our area. But this is going to be that same hail core that tracked through Sherman-Denison. Now, Sherman and Denison and even Howe, you're picking up some rain and probably some thunder and lightning. No hail core with the second round just yet, but you're not done today. We have another round coming. The northern edge of Fannin County has that remnant hail core that moved through Grayson County. What time does this warning go until, Amber?
This warning, I believe, goes till about 4:45, but let me double check.
Okay, so she's looking that up. A lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rainfall. Okay, 5 o'clock for that new warning. So that includes Fannin County. All right, so Texas folks, we're still keeping an eye on you at this point. That is traveling east and northeast. So those in Choctaw County downstream of this, you would see the possibility for some of this large hail. Looks like we also have, looks a little funky here because it doesn't include all of Atoka County with this, but northern Choctaw and western Push-Mataha, this backwards L-shaped warning we've got going on here, that's a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning. It goes until 5:30. What they're likely doing here is downstream of this current tornado warning. Tulsa has issued a severe thunderstorm warning, so that could indicate that they're eventually going to be expiring these tornado warnings and replacing them with severe thunderstorm warnings. But at this time, too soon to say. We still have both of those active tornado warnings ongoing. One of them does expire in 4 minutes at 4:45. And I would say, too, for those still under this polygon here near Durant to Caddo, you're fine now. The main circulation is well east and northeast of you. It's going to be from 70 north to about Highway 3, this corridor right here that has the potential of maybe a tornado. This is broadened out a lot, and so that's good. I think this is starting to weaken some. And actually, we have some damage footage from Durant. This is a tree down. Oh, man, that thing is just, yeah, the base of that tree well down. You get a lot of heavy rain. Sometimes this can happen, especially if they're a little top heavy. They'll just uproot and tip over. And, yeah, so this is Durant, some tree damage there. Doesn't look like a lot of the other trees on this street have any damage, so I would say this is likely not from any type of tornado, but probably just the high winds that moved on through. But yeah, a tree down there in Durant. Thank you, Eric, for sending in this photo. Let's go back to radar and show you again what we're seeing here. The rotation broadening out some. Doesn't mean we're done, but it could be promising that this thing is on its way out. Some strong winds going to be moving into this core, though, north of Boswell there in northern Choctaw County. Any updates, Amber?
Just an update on that severe thunderstorm warning for Choctaw and Push-Mataha County. It does have a tornado possible tag on it, which means they are still going to monitor for that circulation in case it is cycling, like we just talked about a little bit ago. The thunderstorm damage threat is considerable, so we're looking at very strong winds. It's warned for 70-mile-an-hour winds now, so again, that's a bit stronger than we've seen some of these warnings made out for. And hail about quarter size, but we know that we've seen hail about ping pong up to $half size, so it's possible that we get even some isolated larger stones near those areas. So again, that's from Choctaw to Push-Mataha County through about 5:30. No word on if they're going to cancel this tornado warning any earlier. Again, that one does go through about, I believe, the second one, 5 p.m. Let me double check before I'm... 5:15. Okay, so we're still going to be watching that just in case. In Fannin County, you want to note, someone did say there was a wall cloud spotted northwest of Ravenna. No rotation, but just a very strong updraft. So we're going to be watching these storms as they continue moving east over the next several hours.
Okay, so that would be the same core that was in Sherman that now has moved into northern Fannin County. And today, the farther east you go, the better the tornado parameters are. So we're going to have to keep this in mind with these storms. They were along the I-35 corridor. Now that they're moving a little farther east, we're seeing much more wind shear at the low levels of the atmosphere. And that's just kind of a wide open welcome mat for some of these storms as they're moving on in. So right now, I think the tornado potential for this particular storm that's going to be crossing into Atoka County has definitely gone down. But we are watching both the storm in Fannin County real time right now, and then this confirmed tornado that is south of Red River County. Those in Clarksville to Idabel, I know this can be a little bit more of a scary moment just given what has happened last year. You're not in a warning right now, but just watch this closely. This one south of you, if it maintains its intensity and just is more long-lived, it's not out of the question that that track could bring it into southeastern Oklahoma. We're talking at least an hour from now, if not maybe a little bit later than that. But want to give you just a heads up there on what we're watching. Let's zoom into Fannin County real quick. We are seeing some broad rotation with this. Again, we're right along the Red River, so this is a really bad area as far as the radar data goes. We may have to, oh, that's a good view right there. Let's pause this real-time, Amber, and circle where this is going to be. This is northern Fannin County. It's smaller embedded, and possibly two areas here, hard to tell. Again, radar coverage not great, but generally this circle is what we're watching for that potential rotation that would be crossing some of Bryan County. Again, this little sliver right here, that's Bryan County. This county line is Choctaw County. So we may be crossing 3 National Weather Service offices at one time with this potential track that does complicate things a bit, but we'll see how this pans on out. If it moves northeast, that would impact those from Boswell to Soper there as it moves on to the east and the northeast. And that one has a big hail core, a lot of lightning with that. Any updates from the tornado warning?
Just an update as far as any downstream warnings for that tornado warning. They do plan on issuing a downstream severe thunderstorm warning along where that tornado warning is. So that's a good sign that circulation continues to broaden and weaken. We're hoping it stays that way. Maybe the rain kind of washes away that kind of tornado threat. But again, there was going to be a newly issued severe thunderstorm warning. This, I'm going to take off radar really quick so I can kind of show you the wonky polygon. It's more than likely going to fill the gap here. You can see this kind of weird gap where there we go. Yep, filling the gap there. That severe thunderstorm warning now issued. I believe they didn't even put a tornado possible tag on this, so maybe that's a good sign. Winds to 60 miles an hour and up to $half-sized hail with this storm. So still could see some pretty strong winds. And they are also noting on that cell in Fannin County that hail core is re-intensifying as it crosses into Oklahoma. So just a heads up there. Hopefully your cars are under some kind of covered parking because some pretty nasty hail moving into Oklahoma from Fannin County.
Yeah, Amber, let's zoom out again. And if we can punch up the risk area for today, I just want to kind of remind everyone where the zones are with what we're concerned about. Okay, I mentioned the 2 zones. We'll talk about the 2 rounds of severe weather, but this red is what we call a level 4. 5 is the highest. So 4 out of 5 worth noting. And as these storms push farther north, the tornado parameters slowly start dropping off. But for Choctaw County, Bryan County, Fannin, Lamar County, even along I-30, I-20, this is where the best tornado parameters are today. So any cells that stay rooted right along the zone, they would have the green light to keep going, and we'll have to pay close attention to where that warm front is. I know that was lifting north, guys. That cell in Fannin County may be riding the boundary. If it is, that's going to be a problem for us downstream. Here's the second round we're waiting and watching. So far, this is sub-severe, so we like that is the case, but it's possible that could intensify a little bit more as it moves on through. This first round is what we call warm sector convection. That kind of has free game here as the warm front has been been lifted in. It has the first chance at an untapped environment. The second round is what we're going to see along this Pacific cold front that arrives through this evening, and that's going to push storms from west to east and eventually out of here. And then as that upper low moves on through, we're going to see some wraparound storms, likely elevated maybe with a hail threat through Friday morning. So 3 different opportunities for us to see storms, and we're seeing round 1 and round 2 so far with that. The third opportunity will likely be a much less severe weather threat through Friday morning. We're not there just yet. It is in fact only 4:48 p.m. here on your Thursday, but several active tornado warnings ongoing. Zoom on out for me a little more, Amber. I just want to see if we are missing anything farther off to the south. Okay, so a couple of warnings out there in central Texas. Those will be moving closer towards the DFW metro. So we're seeing this line intensifying a bit more west of DFW. So for any folks or friends down there, that's what's coming to you. Short-term Texoma's main concern are these storms already happening. And then any isolated cells that can pop on up between I-20 and I-30, I would say anytime in the next couple of hours before this secondary line can get there, these would have a pretty good tornado threat ongoing for the rest of today. If they move east, they're not our problem, but we're watching them because if these lift in from the north or from the south to north, that could be a problem for mainly Lamar, Choctaw, and McCurtain counties, just depending on where this is. All right, Amber, let's zoom back into the Fannin County one real quick. I just want to give a quick look at that shear rate value just to make sure we're not missing anything with this. Again, this is right along the Red River, and yeah, we saw an uptick right there to the north and northeast of Bonham. That possibly is where they spotted that wall cloud that we got the report of. So this is going to continue at this track nearing the Red River and likely hitting northern Lamar County. So this would be north of Sumner and north of Powderly. And then that active tornado warning, a short time, is still for Atoka County. Shear marker with this, if we want to zoom on in, Amber, has really started to drop on off. We can show you where the storm is with this reflectivity, and then my hand here is kind of where the leading edge of that line was. So you can see the little gap with this shear rate, and that is a sign that we're starting to see some of that spin dropping on off. And again, as I showed you earlier, the farther north these storms get, the less favorable environment for tornado potential. It doesn't go away. It's just not nearly as good as the Red River. That's just how things are today. And, you know, some days you have that, other days you don't. But that's what we're seeing so far today. So at least no uptick in the rotation with this. Again, Caddo, you are still under this tornado warning, but that main circulation is now east-northeast of you. So I think you can take a deep breath. You're in the clear there as far as that main circulation. If we want to go ahead and pull up velocity, we can show that and just kind of see what we're watching just with any potential rotation embedded there. It was broad earlier. Looks like it has continued to fall apart, but that northern one is something we'll need to watch there in northern Atoka County. That looks a little ominous, but we'll see how that pans on out. Yeah, rotation looks pretty much almost done with there for this tornado warning. Yeah, I would say pretty confident that they won't issue this at least downstream, at least for the time being. Now, if this does kind of uptick and tighten up a little bit. But I want to show some good news. We have seen some counties out of that severe thunderstorm watch be lifted from it. So that is Stevens and Jefferson County, which is just west of our area. But that might be a good sign that, hey, maybe the second round won't hold as much of a severe weather threat. But we are still, our entire area, under that severe thunderstorm watch, again, from Garvin to Love, all the way over to Cole, and then that tornado watch still through 10 o'clock tonight. So we're hoping maybe that trend will continue and they can allow more of these counties to expire from that severe thunderstorm watch. But we'll still watch it close. Again, we're not technically in the clear just yet. Still a lot of energy to tap into there, but a good sign. And it looks like they updated that severe thunderstorm warning for Atoka County. I don't think anything changed with that. I think they just reissued it. Okay, and depending on how fast these storms track east, Amber, this could really, if they're slower moving, that's going to start to kind of suck out some of the energy in the atmosphere. If they're quickly moving through, we may have some time. Notice right here near Medill, near even north of Denison, near Durant, we're getting a little bit of clearing with the clouds after even that first round. If we get additional heating over the next hour or so, that could help things when the line comes on through. But with the rain quickly building into the I-35 corridor, that's going to kind of cut that down, at least short term. And so that hopefully will keep us from seeing additional daytime heating to really get going. What was that, guys? Okay, this photo would have been a little bit ago, but we have a picture of a wall cloud, and likely this is probably even the leading edge more so than a wall cloud here. If that is the wall cloud, it's going to be back somewhere in here behind these trees, but this will be that leading main edge of these storms as they were racing east. Yeah, this coming in from Bryan County. You can see how dark things are, but some lighter skies after the main edge, so that's always a good sign. And not a lot of rain just from this photo. Any of that heavy rain would be embedded back in this part. Again, that was probably about 20 to 30 minutes ago when that storm moved through Durant and Boctito. And this is where Boctito is right now. This is where the main circulation is, so that is now kind of ahead of where that photo was taken. So that was just a look back of what these storms looked like as they moved on through. Definitely scary, but we've seen worse photos coming in with storms in the past. So I would say that's some good news, at least, that this doesn't look overly concerning just from that standpoint. And we know that the National Weather Service will go out and survey any potential damage after the fact, but while we're in this coverage current time, we just won't know unless we get an exact video of something on the ground. But a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning with this main leading edge. The tornado warning is supposed to go until 5:15. Now, I think the storm is going to kind of outrun this polygon before we get there. That's about 20 minutes away when this warning is set to expire. So this warning will likely get cleared before we hit the 5:15 mark. And I think it's already pretty much out of this polygon just looking at it right now. This is going to be the main area of circulation, and this is where that polygon is currently still in effect. So what that tells me is they're either waiting to clear that or waiting for it to be expired, but they haven't reissued anything further with that downstream. Behind it, you are still going to see another round of storms coming in. You're not done just yet. If you had this kind of first initial round, we've got more heavy rain and thunderstorms. They are not severe yet at this time. From Ardmore to Marietta to Thackerville, just heavy rain, lightning, thunder, but those are sub-severe. And then let's go back down to Texas, because many folks in Grayson County still probably have their heart rates up a little bit from some of that hail. We're going to watch this second round a little closer. This line is healthier down south into Texas. So if that could kind of pick up speed and maintain its intensity as that moves east, that would cause some issues for Cook and Grayson County, at least with the damaging wind threat. With the second line, we aren't looking as high of a tornado threat. I think that's going to be with this first round, but some embedded rotation still going to be possible with that secondary round as it moves on through. Anything new to add, Amber?
So this is kind of a delayed report from when storms were moving into Marshall County. I'm going to loop this radar back to the time that the report came from. It was from about 3:35 in Marshall County. I might have to adjust my time here. 3:35. So you can see near Marshall County, they had some heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. We're getting reports of some outbuildings damaged on the edge of the road, power poles, and a tree down in the Lark Road area. I looked up to see power outages in Marshall County. They have almost about 300 without power, so not bad, but also not good. So hopefully those lights will get turned back on. But this is why we're saying, hey, keep those phones charged, have several ways to receive weather alerts in case these power lines do get knocked down, like we saw close to 10,000 without power late Sunday evening. So again, that was not a current report. It's delayed, so by an hour, maybe hopefully the lights are back on by now. But we'll continue to watch because Marshall County, more storms are coming your way. Not severe at this time, but we will watch that very close. As Mandy just said, that tornado warning, it's still there, but the storm itself, where the circulation is kind of already out of that polygon. And it looks like they are going to I don't know if they're going to expire this tornado warning, but they say the tornado warnings have all been replaced with severe. So I think this tornado warning may have been expired. It's just still populating in our MAX system because the National Weather Service has said all tornado warnings have been replaced with severe in Bryan and Atoka County. So I think they're working on getting that taken down. So you can take a breath. A deep breath. The tornado threat is over for now, but the night is still young. We still have that very high threat for tornadoes, hail, and damaging winds. So we're going to keep that close eye on that through the evening.
All right, thanks, Amber. Okay, so what we're going to do here, it is 4:58 p.m. KTEN News at 5 o'clock, just about 2 minutes away. We're going to reset and toss to them in about 2 minutes, or about 1 minute now. I've been corrected there. And yeah, the tornado threat with this really dropping on off. They have expired this warning, and for some reason that has yet to be cleared in the system just yet. But we're going to reset. You'll see us coming right back after we go to the anchors, and we'll kind of tell you what's ahead for the rest of the evening. But near time, no additional tornado warnings in the Texoma viewing area. We are eyeing a few storms further south of us that could be a problem later on, but at this time it's a lot of winds, heavy rain and hail that we're continuing to watch move on through. And that hail threat today, that's the big kicker. That's what we're expecting to be the most prominent with these thunderstorms. We have photos from Sherman, we have videos from Sherman of that massive hail core. We'll show you that coming up here in just a little bit, but for now, guys, I'm going to toss it straight over to you.